Yeah, guys, get it on. Welcome back to Past You 4. What do you buy? Fitlab, Tailwind Nutrition, Biomaxa and Capital Cycles. Hey, let me tell you all about the biggest race of the season, the National Age Group Cycling Champs down in Timaru in the South Island at a little township called Pleasant Point. It was good. Before I went away, I figured out in my mind what would be bad result for me, what would be good result for me, and what would be excellent result for me. I got good. I'll tell you what that was. I'll walk you through the time trial and the road race events I did, some results, what I learned, some data. We'll nerd out, guys. Let's have a look at that, shall we? Here we go. First of all, let me show you this photo for the kids where I was staying at the Airbnb just up the road. Introduced, shout out to these guys on the right, from the right, Henry, Will, and Jonty, and introduced these young hitters to the concept of time trialing, and I suspect they are going to do a lot of cycling in their future. Thanks for racing with me on the driveway, guys. It's good times. So let's look at the first event that I did on Friday. This was the time trial. Let's see if I've got a photo here. If you want to see, if you're looking at this, and you want to see what my position looks like, here's a photo here someone took. It's probably a little ragged because it's in the final kilometre and I was feeling a little bit shagged out. You can see my no pins shoe cover has fallen down a little on the right hand side, so that didn't help my Aero at all, and I'm just kind of looking generally a little ragged, but not too bad. My drag for that position you see in front of you came out to about 0.235, which for a 78 kilo dude with wide shoulders is not bad, and that's just from a lot of tweaks. I'm running the Zip Super 9 full disc with the hole covered up. I'm running the Zip 808 on the front, very calm conditions, so that was fine. Just running a custom bar setup up front with USC bars, a 54 Q ring, and ETAP shifting single ring. It was a good setup, and yeah, back drag 0.235 is good because I didn't need as much power to beat a couple of other guys. If you look at the leaderboard for it, if you want to geek out on the Strava segment, you can see guys putting out about the same, or it's slightly more power than me, but with a worse time. And in fact, one of the guy who was bronze, so I got silver in this event, guy who was bronze, I think he actually put out more power than me, but my Aero was better and I beat him by less than a second. So there you go, power of Aero. Let's have a look at some numbers from said ITT. 0.237 is what I worked out my drag to be. So my target going into this was power of 350 watts. I sat there and did multiple lactate tests to determine exactly where I was right between 3 and 4 millimoles of lactate on the road. That came out to about 350 watts was equivalent to about 3.8 millimoles in full time trial position, which is something I could probably hold for about 30 minutes. Turned out about right. Actual power 333 watts, EP 341 watts, so perhaps I could have pushed a tiny bit harder. Then again, on this course, and I'll show you in the data, in the last half, the last third, there's a lot of little downhill sections where you couldn't pedal, and so the power was down a little there, so it's a very lumpy course. A time of 33:48, I think my official time was 33:34 or something like that. Sorry, 33:43. And there was a spread of about 3 or 4 guys, one, as I say, from the same grade, another couple of guys from different grades on the same time. So they must have, been a couple of hundreds down, or tenths, I guess. Tenths? It could be tens of hundreds. And here's what I'm saying. Always in a time trial, kind of have this notion in your mind that maybe, you know, imagine like that person is riding on the road next to you. It's a weird thing to say, but, and if you just give it a little extra push, it might make the difference. 43, distance 24.4 kilometers, climbing of 119 meters in that. So there was actually a couple of little turns and then climbs. Not good for a big unit like me because I had to come from the turn, which is essentially almost standing still, to accelerate straight up a climb. And I did lose to lighter riders with similar power numbers like Jim McMurray. I did lose somewhere between 3 and 5 seconds on those little climbs because of my lumbering carcass. You could see it on the live replay thing. Actually, I looked real slow coming out of there, and that's just a factor of mass. It's probably also a factor of the fact that I had a cracked stem, and I was a little bit nervous about putting too much torque on that, so I didn't. But yeah, it's going to be a new bike season for me coming up. We'll talk about that in a bit as well. So we had work at 675 kilojoules, so in a half an hour, burning through about 2 McDonald's hamburgers. That's pretty hard. So if with that power, 333 watts, and that drag, 0.237, on close to windless conditions, that brought me 43.3 kilometers an hour average on a pretty lumpy course, which is good. Cadence 91. That's all self-selected. I'm not really going for a cadence. In particular, I know I'm most effective in a time trial, as are most people, between about 85 and 90. So that's okay. 91, only one higher. EP341. So, and as far as pacing goes, it's fine. Really in this first third, holding it pretty steady into the upwind section, 340 watts. That's bang on target again. Downwind section, 337 watts, tight, and then the final was a lot of downhill sections. But I think because of the maybe because it was faster on that second half, or especially the last third, my split for that was very good. Taking a few times out of guys, and that might have been related to my Aero. I don't know. For me, that was a record power output for that event. So here's what I'm saying. I was second. I got the silver by about 30 seconds from, or 35 seconds or something from Glenn Rewe, who I think did a 33.06. So he won last year. A really good rider, nice guy, amazing legs. Well, I think we all agreed that on the podium his legs were the most cut and defined, and frankly the most muscly of all of us on there. I think I got a quality second, and the guy in third got a third. So I think, you know, like the result on the road kind of matched the league definition contest. I'm fine with that. So what am I thinking? Well, I'm thinking it's new bike time, which will buy me a little extra drag, because what I can do is get a system which will allow me to hide the front brake cable inside, route it inside the stem, and that's something that a lot of the new TT bikes, Giant Trinity and the BNC, Time Machine, and most of the good bikes have that. Usually a really complicated pulley system inside the stem, which is super ugly and super gross feeling, but very Aero. So I want a bike with a clean front end, no exposed wires or, brake cable. That'll cut down drag a little, because, there is a bit of drag from that. That's probably worth, say, 10 seconds in a time trial like that. Where else are we going to get 30 seconds? Or the rest of the 20 seconds? Possible improvements in, I might trial some different helmets. There could be improvements in position, because there are always tweaks to be made. So it'll be kind of a game of marginal gains for me over the next year to figure out how to get the goal and snag back a little bit of time from Glenn, who's likely to be there again, and be super strong. That's what I'm saying. So, STT, silver, happy. So look at the road race. So 2 days later, on Sunday, was the road race. This was the hardest I've ever ridden, which, by the way, it certainly was on paper. I didn't really feel like it. I mean, I feel like I've had harder races, but it's because my power delivery was really static. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. Moving time, just under 2 hours 50, 2 hours 49. Distance 102.9 kilometers. Climbing 1,300 meters in that time. So, a really rolling course. If you haven't done this, it's just up, down, up, down, up, down, and then one kind of long draggy climb called the two-step, and one much harder, which is, if I just go down here, called the Driscoll Road climb, once per lap, near the end of each lap. If I just highlight, you're looking at about 1.5 minutes climbing. You know, you're only climbing about 40 meters, of course, in that time, maybe 50 meters, but the average grade's 12.2%, but near the top, I don't know if the government's going to be accurate enough to figure this out. It comes up, averaging closer to 13. It's pretty steep, and in the last climb, even though I was averaging close to 400 watts, I was barely moving and I had to zigzag. That's how steep it was. So let's just go over data and then I'll tell you the story, if you want to hear it. 36.4 kilometer an hour average. Look at this work, 2992 kilojoules. That is, I don't know, that is, I don't know, 10 McDonald's hamburgers consumed, maybe 11, in close to 3 hours of racing. That's a lot of energy, and here's the reason why. Average power, 294 watts. That includes, when you see a power figure like that, usually includes all of the whole time, whether you're pedaling or not, everything. So if it's a zero power, that's going to come off your average. Here's what I'm saying, the effective power is more realistic. 332 watts for, as I say, just under 3 hours. That's a mammoth effort. Cadence was good, 92, so nice and smooth. Here's how it worked. And you guys tell me, I don't know if I did the right thing or not. We rolled out in the bunch, and in literally the first maybe kilometer or two, dude rolled off the front, I can't remember his name, sorry, and just started making times, 50 or 100 meters up the road. Bunch was just not doing a thing, and you kind of wouldn't necessarily expect them to that early in the race. So I kind of just rolled off the front and bridged over super easy, and then just worked with them at an easy pace. I mean, I don't know if we can see any of the data here. It probably looks like a hard pace, but no, averaging for 2 or 3 minutes about 388 watts, so it's not, just to sort of like stretch it out, see what would happen. And it went out, and the gap went out to like well over 30, 40, 50 seconds within a few Ks. Like it just, the bunch was doing nothing. We were getting good time checks. Another guy from, I don't know, Green, he crashed later, I can't remember his name, bridged over to us, started working, and, a lap in, out of admittedly 5 laps, we're 1.5 minutes up, and that 1.5 minute gap maintained from the first lap all the way through till the fourth. And in that time, my average EP was 337, so that's just at the top of my aerobic range, just taking turns nicely with the guys. You can see here, just taking turns of about 45 seconds to a minute, 367 watts, just under threshold, just nice tempo, tapping it out, averaging good speed, holding the gap. And I thought, well, sort of like, here's what I'm saying, after a few, I don't know, really after only 10 minutes of this, I thought, we're kind of in now, and like Jens Voigt once said it best, where he said, it's kind of not always up to you, it's up to the bunch. Ultimately, in the fourth lap, we were bridged over by a group of 4 others, I think, including Big Danger Man, Glenn Rewe, and these guys were coming in super hot. Out of the 3 of us who were away on the original break, green guy crashed. I don't know why. A timing person just came up beside us. He must have got, I don't know, sidetracked or something. Hit something on the road, I don't know. He just went over. He was okay, I think. And the other guy couldn't hold on, so it was just me and the group include Glen Rewe group that came through, and man, we were just trucking. So at this point here, from about the 3.5 lap onwards, it was just us. And in this time, I'm lapping it out with these very good riders, averaging somewhere, not actually that much. Yeah, that is 323 EP. Here's what I'm saying. It did start to take its toll, and the day sort of took its toll on me. Here's one thing, just get this. I did start to cramp in the third lap. Took a cramp fix packet, and because of the advice of my friend Lee, actually took another one after that, and it did make the cramp go away. It's insane how this season I've started using cramp fix. It has saved me. It has made about 5 races, I'd say, quite high priority ones, go from potential disaster, meaning just have to soft pedal or pull out because of cramp, to being competitive, and it's all because of cramp fix. If you want to see what I'm talking about, go see the link in the discount code at the bottom of the video, because it's been wildly impressive for me. Now, the dudes at Cramp Fix and Tailwind Nutrition support me, and they give it to me. So let me just tell you that conflict of interest. But I would buy it regardless. I really, really would. And the mechanism of action is valid and is not pseudoscientific crap like homeopathy. So I think it sounds like this. I'm going on. I feel kind of weird about it from time to time. Talking about it all the time, but because that's a supporter of mine. So I guess, on the one hand, I feel like I should. On the other hand, it sounds sort of not really like I'm being honest or something. But no, I'm going to get pretty excited about it. Anyway, I'll shut up about it. Perfect. Go get some. Got dropped in the... Dude, holy shit, look at this. This is the 2-step climb. This is where I got dropped. And I got dropped putting in an average of 443 watts for a minute 15. And I was just toast at that point. I gave it everything. And my legs were torn up. And from that point, it was really just a time trial by myself to pull in fifth. So, okay, big question of the day then is, should I have gone on that giant breakaway or not? And I still don't know. I think best case scenario, if I hadn't, might have been a bronze medal, something like that. Worst case would have been no change to the position. So I'm sort of happy with it. Would I do it again? I don't know that I would. I don't think I would. I think I would be a little more patient in the bunch. But yeah, I don't know that it really changed a lot. And I kind of think it was always, by the way, it wasn't completely thoughtless. I had analysed the course with some guys previously and thought, on a rolling course like this, and in the nature of an individual race, you can risk a longer breakaway because guys, there are no teams necessarily likely to be working that hard together, so you have a better chance of staying away. And actually, that's kind of true. That is what happened because the guys who came across were from different teams. Here's what I'm saying. They say picture tells 1,000 words. And that's the picture of the kids again. So you'll find the picture I'm talking about. I think this will probably show you. Here you go. So me in the back there on the far left. And you'll notice if you look at the pain faces going on, this is the second to last time, the penultimate time up Driscoll Road climb. And, this is about 450 watts, maybe 480 watts. And that face on me represents what I was feeling, which is just giving everything. Dude, look at the wheels on, what is it, CICMC, black dude. He's not a black dude, he's a white dude. You know what I'm saying? Black kit on my left, running the Cervelo. Look at the lightweight wheels on there. I couldn't help but notice those. They were really sexy. Glen Rewe on the Trek. What we got? Otago guy, specialised. What is that, a Scott? Lots of bikes representing me on the chapter 2. That was good bike, by the way. Oh, here's the thing. I was running, because I had a flat tyre in the morning, I just thought, screw it, and I went with 808s, front and rear zip. 808 is a deep section aerodynamic wheel, much deeper than what the other guys were running because of the course is lumpy. So they're heavy, but they're super aero. But I was insanely impressed how, like, on the downhill sections, the guys I was with will attest to this, I could just tuck and hone, and those wheels carried so much speed. Guys pedaling downhill, and I would just be tucked and just zooming past them. It was crazy. Like, this really good example of what difference the aero drag of a deep section of wheel makes. They're really too heavy for that course, but for a long breakaway, they're pretty good. So I don't particularly regret it. All right, so let's just quickly look at results from the road race. We have got, Sam Gardner was the Counties Manukau guy who won by about over a minute from next place Glen Rewe, time trialled away. That was impressive. In bronze was Stuart Holder, again from Counties Manukau. Blair Martin was the Otago guy, and me coming in 5th. And Lee Campbell, who must have outsprinted Andy Hilton on the line, taking a solid 6th for our Wellington Masters Cycling Club team. So, an interesting thing. I don't know. It's, hindsight's 2020. Should I have gone away on the break? Should I not? It may not have mattered in the end. It wasn't a disaster either way. I had a good time. So, as a whole, silver at the time trial, and I ticked my targets in terms of power and drag, and the ride as a whole. There was one cock-up. I guess there was a lesson, which was I lent a wheel to one of my riders to use, and it was not her fault at all, but I was about 4.5 minutes from my start without a front wheel to use because she was still on the course. And I had sort of, I guess, misread or misunderstood my start time or something. And so I was standing there literally 3.5 minutes out from my start time, waiting for her to come in. Luckily she did. She honed in, we swapped wheels. I got on the start line and it went fine, but it was skin of the teeth stuff. I was a little bit, I was a bit douchey, I went around, I was getting a bit panicky, and I thought, oh no, it's 5 minutes till start. There was teams in the grass tent village area. I said, look, has anyone got a front wheel with a 23 tyre on it? I don't care what it is. Can I please use it for half an hour for my time trial? And both of it must have been 10, 15 people hanging around at both of these teams, and none of them were particularly interested, which is super douchey, to be honest. I mean, they sort of looked around and did this move where, oh no, we don't have one, mate. But yeah, no, maybe they were right, maybe they really didn't, but I don't know how can they were to help, and I don't know, maybe in the scheme of Utu, that will bite you in the ass. I don't know. We'll find out. Jesus will judge you. That's what I'm saying. All right. What have we got? So that was photos. That was the events. Blah, blah, blah. Thank you for a good time. That was my first nationals ever. In, since winning the under 7 Stakes Valley mountain bike. Sorry, BMX champs in 1982 and a half. First ever national champs. I've been injured. I've been on holiday. I've been at all sorts of excuses before. This is the first one. If you're thinking about doing it, just like any national champs, it is a different level. Although in Masters, it's not, you don't get these insane talented units like you do with, your some 17-and-a-half-year-old who's just a monster. You don't really seem to get that. And even a guy who's super talented like Glen Rewe, the truth is probably the edge comes off you a little bit once you get north of 40. And, you have a really high level, but not insurmountable and scary. Here's what I'm saying, if you want to try the top end of Masters racing in New Zealand, I would thoroughly recommend it, North Island, next year. Shout outs to Helen Beattie for winning the Master 2 Women's Time Trial. Just an excellent ride. Lots of Wellington Masters riders doing well. As I told you, Lee Campbell riding well for could have been the 4th or 5th in the time trial, again 6th in the road race. that was solid. We had about 6 or 7 riders here from Wellington Masters Cycling Club, and some doing well, some not so good, but a good time had by all, I think. If you want to go to Timborough, I recommend it. Apple trees all over the place. It's pretty cool. Oh, right. See if I've got any notes here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to share and subscribe, that's good. And if you want to put if you want to have a little comment, so what sort of time trial bike do you think I should get? As I say, I've been looking at the Cervelo P5. I've been looking at the Factor. I've been looking at the Cube. I've been looking at the BMC, that's near the front, the BMC Time Machine. Frames, I've been looking at the Giant Trinity, like Dumoulin had. I've been looking at, I'm wide open to ideas. Number one thing is, I don't really want, a lot of these bikes have the proprietary front ends, and I'm not really down with it. I want something super adjustable. I want something super clean. And I don't mind paying for it. In case you're wondering, what I'm wearing at the moment is this, unbranded Chinese carbon frame from Hong Fu. And I've got it on my blog if you want to look at the stats. And they still sell ones that are sort of upgraded like that. It's been really excellent. As I say, I've cracked the frame, or cracked the stem, but only after 5 years use. And it's time trial bikes, I didn't get a lot of use, but a lot of the parts of, that stem was what I used at the Aero record. I use it a ton, so it's been pretty good. It's probably not the best, and it's like the specs on the front end of the new ones aren't quite what I want, so that's why I'm going branded. But they're not bad. So yeah, have a think. What do you think I should get for a time trial bike? Yeah. So look, maybe I'll look at some positions of riders. Maybe there we go. Maybe I can. Okay, look at this. Okay, what do we got here? Female. That's a nice position. Nice low front end. Again, nice low front end. Looking down a bit, you can see the helmet tail coming up again. Not really integrated, but with women it can be hard to get that right. Yeah, good. A woman with good head position. Look at that tail though, coming up, looking down a little far. Look at this. This is nice. Look at this person here who's figured out the very aerodynamic hand position on top of each other. That's a Dave Zabriskie move, and really effective. Nice helmet and head control there. Good, a little high. See, look at the high torso on this rider. There's a lot of drag there, quite wide elbows. Hands out, there's a lot of drag in there. Oh, that's nice. Again, I don't know how well the helmet really fits. Female riders, they can have some morphological difficulties. So we've got rider here, non-Aero gear, but they're probably not super serious about it. This is good, some smaller riders. So look at this. That's a road bike. You can't do much with that. So look at some nice stuff. See, we've got a lot of chest exposed to the ear for some of the riders, and you really want to minimize that. That's nice. Look how tucked that is. Look how close the hands, the elbows, the head. Nice high pressure, avoiding a low pressure drag area in the middle of the chest area. That's good. Again, higher. See more, you sort of wider, more open chest there. So that's going to catch the wind. There's a dude there. That looks fast. But look at this, a younger rider. Some covers or something going on the helmet. That road bike with clip-ons. High chest. So here's someone that got the nose strip on, which I went back to. It's quite good. Looks like you're using clip-ons again, but in quite a good position. really tight in the chest and hand area. It's a little more open. Look at this hand position here. A couple of people, where is it, getting this right. See, look at this. That's really nice. I don't know who that rider is, but I suspect there's no caption. But again, just using clip-ons on the road, but that's a nice hand position if you can get that right. Again, here, look at this tuck. Look at this head down. Look at that tuck. No, avoiding any low pressure areas in the middle of the chest. Again, a much higher position here. Look how high that rider is. You know, grabbing a lot of wind. A lot of these riders using clip-ons, I notice. Maybe there's some of the younger riders who don't have all the fancy gear, I don't know. Again, look, someone getting that hand position sorted. Now, I'd really recommend, if you want to try that, drilling that and trying to do it safely, because it's not as controllable. Yeah, look at this. This is a nice position. Look at that. Great close elbows. Look at that. Yeah, I like that. I think he's using the Arrowhead. Again, clip-ons, but as a whole, a narrow position. No low pressure areas in the middle of the chest area. Head low, but seems to be well integrated from what I can tell, and the hands tight. Good. Look at that. See, so you can see it's not really that clear a comparison, but compare this rider much higher looking up the road. That's all fine, but it's not a zero. Look at this nice tuck. This guy here, oh, it's okay. Yes, he's got quite a high torso, and it may be hard for people to develop power with a very low torso angle, and that's something you've got to practice. The more you get on the turbo trainer, especially, and just frankly just drill the position. Sometimes it power, sometimes it not. That's going to make a big difference in how much power you can supply in the low hip angle position. And I know that it's wildly uncomfortable, but it's sort of got to be done. People coming through the final turn, and I always think safety first on those turns. You know, you could maybe shave off half a second, but it may end up costing you a lot if you crash. And coming into the final, and maybe the only other thing I'd say about that is, you know, riders coming to the final here, you really want to stay, there's this temptation to get out of the saddle, and you really want to stay in the saddle, stay nice and low in aero, so that you can remain, even if your power isn't quite as high, you'll be faster. Aero's everything. It really, really is. And if you want, go to any calculator where you can determine speed versus power versus aero, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Look at this. So there's a couple of guys coming into the final, getting a bit ragged. Look at this dude. Look at this. That's commitment, which is, you know, that is head right down. That is no air coming into the chest between the hands. I'm sure the guy's shagged out, still making a good effort to stay nice in aero. All of these guys, I see there's some good form in these riders, really practicing. So that's an interesting sort of rundown of some of the positions at the Nationals. That is helpful. So as always, if you want a training plan from me, email me, steve@fitlab.co.nz. Go to fitlab.co.nz. Like, share, and subscribe. Go to Fitlab, Tailwind Nutrition, Biomaxa, and Capital Cycles. See the notes for the discount codes. And yeah, next weekend, Footy Season Traverse on the mountain bike. Sort of, it looks like it appears to be a semi-roady type event off-road. Should suit me, I hope. Last event of the summer / autumn. Then I'll be having a couple of weeks transition, then training, and then we'll talk about how to get through that endurance training phase. What you can do to make it kind of semi-enjoyable. All right, guys, good times. See you on the weekend.